Good morning. So, this morning I got up a little bit late and I just woke up with like this in pain again. It's like this, I don't know, just like feeling like I have a hole in my heart. Yeah, it's just a hole. And did affirmations and meditation, and I just decided I'm going to let it be. This is part of the process. The crying, and Lola just made it up here from the valley down there. And the time that I was on this video, because right before I turned it on, I saw her down there and I called her and she ran up. She's like, she's so happy. Um, it's like this void. It's like there's this empty void that was created, and there's nothing superficial that can fill the void. And I feel like just sitting in the void for a little while, just sitting in it, is part of this process. Is you have to empty out the old to create new. At the same time, I feel just such a sense of loss. Um, he's starting to fade. Like in my memory, he's starting to fade. I still have, like, at the soul level, this, well, I don't know, pain isn't at the soul level, so I still have like this inner memory of him. I got so used to, you know, of him being there, and I trusted that he would be there. Even as a friend, I trusted it, and I trusted him. I feel like allowing myself to go into the grudgery of the pain, going down and because as you can see, when you go down into the pain, there, first of all, you are kind of forced to go through all of your emotions. So everything comes up to the surface. And as I go through the pain, I see that, and I try to articulate. I can see that the pain is sitting in places that aren't completely whole, aren't completely um, understood yet. There's still um, bilbul. What is the word in English? Where confusion in the places, in those places. But also, I feel like crying and letting it come up is letting go of expectation. It's release, because when you're crying or when you are feeling in such a way, it means that you're letting go of the expected outcome. You're mourning over it. You're allowing it to go, and you're in pain because of it. I mean, you wouldn't be in pain if you weren't letting it go. It's the resolve. It's also burning out weakness that remained in me. And it's amazing how this fluctuates, because yesterday I was feeling on top of the world, like I could handle this, and I felt like I got to a place of, I guess this is just layers and layers and layers on layers, and you keep on, you get over a point, you get to a plateau, and then you go deeper, and you get over a point and you get to a plateau and you go deeper, and it's like I see it kind of like when you're going in the spiral until you get to the still. It's like you flip back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until the flips become smaller and more closer together, and then you come to a place of still, a place of harmony. And I guess this is part of the spiritual awakening. We have to go through ourselves and understand ourselves completely and feel all of the different emotions to their fullest in order to fully know ourselves and be able to be capable of feeling all of our emotions. We have to go through all of our emotions to the intensity of them and come back around and out of them. Otherwise, there's still places in us that we don't know intimately, that we don't know that we can handle. Once I go through this, the next time around, I know that I'll be able to handle it. Just like I can tell just from watching patterns of myself and patterns of the universe that I've been through great pains before and I've overcome them. So I know that at the end of this, I'm going to come out the other end stronger. It just hurts so bad. And sometimes you can't even pinpoint what the pain is. He's starting to fade for me. When you try to think of his face or of his voice, it's kind of, every once in a while my phone it will pop up a picture of him, but I'm not dwelling on it. And when he said that he's blocking me from Facebook just to give us space, I let it go. It wasn't something that I dwelled on. First of all, I also felt like it was right that if there is no contact, I also want that space for myself, not to have the constant reminders and the constant, I want to be able to go inward and to heal in myself. And still there's a part of me. See, I'm already believing. I'm already at the point where this is the of acceptance of it. But there's sorrow in it. And I'm learning to trust that, if something is meant to be, it'll be. And if it's not meant to be, then there's no reason for me to be in this sorrow of it. If it's not meant to be, then it's not divine. And if it's meant to be, it'll come back around. So I can just fully let it go and allow it to leave my life and trust that what is in alignment with me and a better suit for me will come into my life. This morning I woke up and I think that going deep into the pain really brings out a lot of insight. It brings out a lot of understandings, because when the pain comes up, it's like you start grasping. You want the pain to go away. It hurts so bad that you start grasping, and then you start looking for things to fill that void. And everything you look at now, it's already, with me, it's already an automatic. I know that there isn't anything superficial that can fill the void, but you want to. So you have like this yearning. Well, I need to meet somebody, but I don't need to meet anybody. I need to get through this and find myself and come out the other side of this strong and vibrant. Putting something, even the thought of bringing somebody else in on top of all the mess that I'm going through, it would just feel like adding mess to mess. Like, how would you even try to bring somebody into all of this mishmash when my emotions are all over the place? It would just make it worse. It's like my container. Right now I'm containing myself. I'm going through myself. I'm going through my emotions. I'm understanding what is going on with me. I'm understanding myself deeper. I'm letting go of expectation. That's what crying is. Crying and sorrow is letting go of expectation, of outcome, of how attachment to outcome, attachment to how I want things to be, or attachment to how I feel things should be. I'm realizing this too. I've said it a couple of times already on this video, but because it's really hitting home, it's really intense. And it all comes back to attachment. When we release attachment, that's full enlightenment. That's so this twin flame journey, and I don't even know that I want to call it that. It's just, see, we start having doubts, um, you know, for me in any case, I know that there is like a super, super strong connection there. And then I start thinking, I start having these doubts, like, is it one-sided because he sees me so well, but maybe it's not the same way for him. And like I have all of these conflicting thoughts in me. And a lot of them, I think to myself, they don't matter anyway. What does it matter? Why are you dwelling on this? It has, it has no place in outcome. It has no um, consequence. It doesn't matter. At the same time, I always have to fully understand things in order to like fully evolve around them and grasp them. And then this morning, I was also having like these conflicting thoughts about, like, now when I did the video, started this video, do I need to start a video and show this part, all of this weakness? And then I think to myself, this is all part of it. This is part of the rising. This is part of the spiritual awakening. In order to come to, look, there's an airplane going right over. Just directly over. They're probably sightseeing up there. Yeah, because this valley is beautiful. And I think to myself, because it's easier to show yourself when you're having light moments and inspired, bright moments. And in the moments of weakness, you're more vulnerable, and it's less attractive. And I start thinking, well, do people really want to see all of this? And then I think to myself, first of all, I'm doing this for me. It feels like it's for me and for you, but also for me. It's like my therapy work. And really do feel like this is something that is being born out of me. And if I'm honest in this process of the enlightenment, and anybody else who is going through a spiritual awakening is going through these parts as well, not just all the heightened, enlightened, beautiful parts. I mean, there are those moments, and those moments are becoming more and more and more intense and becoming more dominant. But there's also these moments where they're like glitches, where we go and we have to go inwards and pull out some more slime, pull out some more places that were not in alignment with our soul level, and overcome these places. And in order to overcome these places, you have to go through them. You have to be willing to pull out all the parts. You see that when we're in these lower parts, things aren't clear to us. If they were clear, we wouldn't have pain in them, because once you go through them, they become coherent, and they become very specific, and you understand them, and you process them, and then it becomes the wisdom. It becomes the solution for, or the outcome of. um, but as we're going through the pain, what's the pain is caused because we don't fully understand. We're not fully standing up in those places, because when we're at the soul level, there is no pain. when you're at the soul level, pain is of the ego, is of the attachment, is of the trying to force outcome, is of the not letting go. Um, Pain is of that realm. So, so the places that we have pain are places that things aren't completely clear, and our perspectives aren't spot on. Otherwise, there wouldn't be pain. Um, so with these videos, first of all, it's owning it for me, because first of all, it helps me put things into words. It helps me bring what I'm feeling down into reality, down into the 3D world, down into this realm, for me to be able, for my avatar also to be able to understand what it is. Because as I talk about it, I'm working it out for me too. And it also helps me own it, because by putting this out there is no hiding. There is no hiding around a corner and putting on a face like, oh yeah, everything is okay. When I am putting it out there, I have to own it. I have to stand up in it. I can't hide my weaknesses and only bring out. And so it helps me, and through doing that, through the exposing, it has like this. Has a feel to it that isn't a positive feel, but exposing, it's like exposing myself. But I mean it in a way, in a positive way. It's like um, um, being truthful with myself and with others. It makes me own it. I have to own it. And if I'm owning it, I have to go through it. It kind of forces me to do my own self work. And it also, I feel like, in all honesty, I feel like it's something that is kind of like my God's work. It is part of my mission here on planet, because it's being born out of me. It's like sometimes I think, I look back and I say, whoa, you're doing videos and putting it out online for other people to watch. It's so like out of context. I don't know how to explain it. And it's just coming to me like totally natural. It, um, it's like it was meant to be. It's like it's like it's being born out of me. It's almost above me and beyond me. It's something that I'm doing that um, I feel like it's a mission, a life mission, or a life purpose that is above and beyond me. It's not something that consciously I decided, oh yeah, I'm gonna start doing this or that. Yeah, I remember when I started doing the videos, I did a few videos about different things, but then when I started doing the videos about the twin flames, and a couple of women have written to me that they feel like they need to share their journey, and I'm encouraging anybody that feels like they need to share their journey to share it. It If you feel the urge to do it, then it's something that might be a mission for you, or a purpose for you to help others, um, like a healing mission. And it also helps others realize that they're not alone. That's something that I realized in doing these videos, is that I'm helping others realize that they're not alone. And I have the ability to take very complex ideas and put them into words and bring them down into, articulate them. So our talents are given to us to use and to bring forth into the world. So in that way, and that's a message to me too, because I have other talents too that I feel like need to get expression in the world. So sitting in this void that has come up, I feel like there's, this, something leaves your life, and something that is detrimental, and that all of my life, with I had him in my life, and it was like He touched every aspect of my life. And then when he just left, and it was just like a vacuum, he left like in an instant out of my life. And it's like it sucked, like this void sucked the air out of my life in everything, because everything that I touch, he's there. He's in the memory of it. He's like implanted into every aspect. Now I feel like I have gone through this stage of just being kind of numb, kind of like, and you get so far into the pain that you feel numb from it already. It's kind of like going through traumas, and then you relive it and 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 relive it, and you talk about it as much as you can until it doesn't have that tinge to it anymore. It just becomes like, and so that's what I feel like. But at the same time, there's a lot of things that I just not finding joy. I'm starting to find a little bit of joy, or at least maybe peace in certain things. I'm just keeping busy. I'm just moving. I'm just moving, moving, moving. So when the pain comes up, I allow it to come up. I go through it like I am now, and then I just keep on going. Just keep on going. Not getting attached to the pain, not getting attached to sitting in the pain. Right now, I'm dispersing the pain. I'm bringing it out into the open. I'm owning it. I'm saying what it is. And then I'm just going to release it. When I go off this mountain, that's it. I'm just releasing it and continuing on. I have so much work to do. I can clean my house. I'm going to put on music if I can listen to music. If not, I'll just be in the quiet. Maybe I'll listen to some Abraham Hicks or Wayne Dyer. But I'm just going to get into the now and get into appreciation. And that's another thing. I got up this morning, and when I started doing my exercise, I didn't even finish my exercise. I boil water for my coffee. I put it on the gas. And as I do it, I do like this 10-minute exercise where I work out my whole body in 10 minutes. And it's become, ever since I quit going to yoga, because I can't afford it. I'm not going to use those words anymore. I can afford it. But ever since I quit going to yoga, well, lately in the last few weeks, I've gotten into a routine of every morning working out my body for like 10 minutes of just doing a tick, 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 every single aspect of my body. And then a little tad bit of cardio just to get, and then I go out with the dogs. So I have the hiking or the walking in the morning. But as I was doing because I woke up with that intense pain, and it left me a little bit through meditation. I started doing some visualizations and feeling, but it's like this gaping hole. And so then I realized that I need to just intensify the pain and go through it and see what it's telling me. And I realized in it, um, that my twin, his memory, the memory of him in the 3D is fading. He's fading. I still feel the emotion of the loss and the emotion of him, but he himself is fading. It's like I can't really visualize him. I can visualize aspects, but I don't, it's not a real vibrant memory anymore, like a really colorful memory. There's still the void, but the void is starting to become more numb and numb. And as I was doing my exercising, the things started coming, and so I started writing them down. And so I wrote down that the pain forces me to go through all of my emotions. So this twin flame journey forces us to go through all of our emotions and to know ourselves intimately. I talked about that a little bit. Crying is release of expectation. And crying is it's releasing expectation of outcome. It's releasing attachment. to something. It's when you cry over something, it's you are allowing it to go. You're actually owning that it's leaving. Otherwise, you wouldn't be crying over it. You'd be still holding on to it. No, it's not going to leave. It's going to. But when you cry, it's the mourning of it. So when you're mourning something, you're releasing it. You're saying, I know that it's going. Otherwise, you wouldn't be sad and you wouldn't be crying. So release it. So crying over something, first of all, it releases the pain of it. I can feel as I cry, I can feel. That's why crying is so important, because it burns out that pain. It burns out that weakness, and it actually releases in your tears and your snot or whatever. You're actually releasing. Things are coming out of your body, and you can feel it coming up out of your inners too. You can just feel the release of it. And then you get so sick and tired of crying. When you cry for a long time, it's like when you're sick, and then when you start coming out of it, you're like sick of your bed and you don't want to be in your bed anymore. You just want to get out into the sun. It feels the same. You like drudge in this rain of, it's like drudging in the rain, and then spring comes. And it just makes you feel like, I'm okay, I'm done crying over this. And you can release it, and you feel better afterwards. So crying is important. And so then I wrote, so crying is release of expectation. I'm also adding here release of weakness. And then I wrote superficial relationships fall and are not interesting. So like this void that comes in, also when you're going so deep into yourself, any kind of superficial relationships just fall out of your reality. They become non-interesting. Anything that people that are in your life that you don't have that soul connection with, that you don't feel intimacy with, they just become non-important. And it's like you can't hold, when you're going so deep into yourself, and you're so far along in your own spiritual awakening. It's like you can't hold on to anything superficial anymore, anything that doesn't have meaning. It's just taking up your precious time. It it's like watching a sitcom. It has no, that doesn't have any kind of substance to it. If it doesn't have substance to it, it's like you just don't have the patience for it, or you don't want to, when you come into yourself so deeply, and you come into places that are of such meaning and depth, things that don't have depth, they just become boring. They don't they become superficial. And so when you have this void, also this void in you, there is already no satisfaction in trying to fill the void with superficial relationships or superficial things, like I was talking about yesterday about sexual encounters. Like superficial sexual encounters just don't interest you anymore. It doesn't take away that. It just takes away from your spiritual journey. It just takes away from your becoming. You know, this is a shift. This spiritual awakening is a shift, and it can go. You can get stuck in loops on this journey. You can get stuck forever, for this lifetime, in loops, if you're not willing to do the work, or you're not willing to feel the pain, or if you start trying to fill the void with superficial things. Then you can get stuck for a lifetime on the superficial. You can get stuck for a lifetime just trying to ease the pain, trying not to go through it. Don't touch that Pandora box. Don't open up that box. I don't want to cry over this. I'm going to close this. And then you don't proceed. You don't go on. And this spiritual awakening, in times, first of all, it's a shift. So there is a certain amount of time of adjustment as you're shifting. New beliefs are coming in. You have to be willing to grudge down deep and pull out all of this pain, and go through it and sort it out. And you sort out your own self, and you understand your own self. So all of this, is stuff that has to be done. And like I've said, a million times before, probably, well, probably not a million, but a lot of times before, is that there are a lot of different paths to get to the same outcome. So anything that I'm saying is, there are spiritual awakenings that happen in an instant, and parts of the spiritual awakening also happen in an instant. I know that there's a lot of things that I've gone through, a lot of the pain that I've overcome, that I have overcome in an instant. There's certain aspects of it that you just get, and then they just become a knowing instantaneously. So, so a lot of this spiritual awakening is just doing the work, and a lot of it, when you get to a point where you're just willing to release, then a lot of it can happen instantaneously. I'm going for the instantaneously. I'm going for as quickly as possible. So when this pain comes up, I'm just letting have at it. Have at it. I'm allowing myself to go deep. I know that a lot of times, like it's so deep, and you can't find the cause. Even it's like I said, you have to understand. You have to, when in places that we are in pain, or places that we don't know the answers. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all that pain if we already were all knowing. So sometimes, we can't find the release of it, or we can't find where we are in error, or what's causing the pain, or how to release the pain, or we keep on going around in loops of why did this happen? Poor me, this shouldn't have happened, the attachment to the outcome. But once we realize that the pain is caused by that attachment, then there's many different ways to get to the same outcome. We can just decide that we don't understand and to release. Okay, I don't understand why this happened to me, but I do understand that the relief of it is in releasing it. And so then a lot of times we can do the opposite work, because it's like a paradox. So we can do the work in the opposite way. We can release, and then a lot of times after we release it, then we understand. So it's like creating the outcome before going through it, and then you go through it because you have already created the outcome. And I'm happy with that understanding. I'm going to start using that. I'm releasing. And sometimes you just can't release. Sometimes you just have to go through a few days of sorrow, and if we're lucky, it's a few days, and we don't. Some people get stuck for months and years in the same loop of not releasing. And sometimes somebody can come along and say one word to us, and tick, just like that, you release it. You realize, oh, wait a minute, I was stuck in this mind loop. I don't have to be stuck in that mind loop. There's so many different ways of thinking and so many different ways of being. I feel like one of the things I was thinking this morning is that I feel like there are great things ahead for me. And I'm sure that a lot of you can connect to this. I feel like I'm meant to be doing great things, and I'm kind of standing in place. I feel like there are great things in store for me, and that I I just need to step forward into them, and sometimes I don't see the path. And so, and I know that our words create our reality. So I think that that is where to start with the words that I use. So using only empowering words that, sometimes I feel I'm going to leave it at that. I want to go over the things that I wrote here and just see. Okay, sitting in the void allows room for something meaningful to come in. So that was also a thought that I was having this morning when I was having that pain. It's like I'm sitting in this void, and you feel like you want the void to fill with something to make you happy again, or to and I figure that this void, there's a loss, there's a vacuum, there's a void that was created. And this void needs to be filled from within. And, and just sitting in the void allows, just allowing the void to be and not having to fill it really quick with anything superficial allows me to slowly, slowly work through myself. If I allow the pain to just sit in me and I'm not looking to release the pain right away, I'm just allowing it. Okay, that's part of it. And then I just continue on my life. Slowly, I'll start with tweezers, picking things and putting them back into the void, and filling my life with things that I enjoy doing, and filling the void with, the good part of having a void is that now there's a lot of room for a lot of good things to come in. And so I just need to be very, very selective of what I allow into my world. Now that I have this massive, it's an opportunity, this massive opportunity and space that I can fill with all sorts of goodies. And so I can look at it that way. And so I'm just allowing myself to sit in the void. And also, sitting in this void means that I'm sitting in emptiness, I'm sitting in a hollow. I'm sitting in a place where all options are open. And I'm also getting to know myself fully and completely, and also getting to know my strengths. Allowing myself to sit in the pain is a superpower. It means that if I can sit in this void and find calm in it, I mean, you saw this morning. I'm alchemizing this whole video. Look where I started and where I'm leaving. I'm alchemizing all of my thoughts. I'm working through them as I go. That's why talking it out helps so much. And really, I would suggest anybody that feels like they need to talk it out can just open up a video and just talk to themselves. You don't have to have any kind of intentions, but you do have to be completely honest with yourself, not try to, if you're trying to hide from your own self, you're doing yourself a disservice. And if you're trying to manipulate the outcome, then it's not authentic, and it's not coming through as authentic. And authentic is something that is you can pick up on in an instant. Something that is authentic or something that isn't authentic, it's a vibration. If you're not being completely honest with yourself first and foremost, then you are doing your own self a disservice. And so I would suggest, just if you want to talk something out, you can start a video, or you can talk to yourself in the mirror, or you can, starting a video is good, because then you also have it to look back on if you ever want it. But it's also because you're looking at yourself as you are talking through it. So you're telling yourself the things as you're saying them. And you're becoming, honest with yourself, and honest with, if you decide to publish them, then you're becoming honest with the world. And then you have to face it. And then once you face it, you can go through it and overcome it. You see how many videos I've done. My son looked at me and said, "Emma, you have like 800 videos here." Boy, there's a lot I'm coming through. We're such complex beings. So, okay, so the next thing I wrote is trusting divine guidance and timing, allowing myself to heal. So, trusting divine guidance. I'm finding divine guidance everywhere. I find signs and synchronicities in everything. I'll see a T-shirt that just speaks exactly to me. And the thing is about that is, it's a paradox of sorts. See, there's when you're in a certain place, certain things speak to you from the universe. So first of all, when you are realizing that the universe is speaking to you through signs, you start paying attention. So it brings you into the now, which the now is like a vortex. When you come into the now, you're coming you're coming out of your mind. You're coming into um, being. You're coming into peace. In the now, there is no attachment. The now is the only time of power that, it's full enlightenment. When you're in full enlightenment, you're just consistently in the now, consistently allowing things to unfold for you and through you. Um, Coming into the now gives you complete peace. I got to the grounds. Um, Coming into the now is like a portal of coming into heaven on earth. There was like a big boom over there. It's like confirmation. And when you start seeing signs, you start seeing things that are relevant to you. You start reading signs that are relevant to you, and 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 getting meaning from different things that you see. There's so many flies. So trusting in divine guidance and timing. So really allowing myself, as it goes back to sitting in the void. When I sit in the void, I'm allowing myself, I'm allowing divine timing to come in. I'm not trying to force anything to happen. So I'm just allowing the time to flow through me and for me to flow through time, and knowing that when I am ready, I'll be guided. And when I am ready for the next stage or the next thing needs to open up for me, there will be divine timing and it'll bring it to me, whatever is mine. And it goes back to also this sense of great, I feel like there's great things in store for me, and I just need to sit in this void and allow and be an allowance for whatever it is to come in. But also, you see, there's two parts of it. You have to be an allowance, but you also, when something does come into your field, you have to know how to take opportunity. So there's also action in it. And you can't just lay on the couch and expect life to unfold for you. You have to actually be active in your life, and start following intuition, and following opportunity when opportunity presents itself. It's like that saying, when there was a flood and somebody was waiting on his roof and praying for God, God, come and save me, and a boat comes along, and the guy says, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. There's like three different things come along, and then he drowns, and then he goes up to heaven and he says, God, why didn't you save me? He said, I did. I sent you the boat and the this and the that. So you do have to reach out and recognize opportunity when it comes to your door, and overcome fear, and be willing to step out on a limb, be willing to push your boundaries, but s- uh, um, um, push yourself, overcome your own glass ceilings. So, and when you realize that the whole world is just a game, this whole existence is just an experience. 100 years from now, who's going to care that I was sitting here on this mountain? 100 years from now, when you think about 100 years from now, there's no shame in anything. There's no embarrassment. And to go out and put yourself out there and to speak your mind and say what you think, and go out and try new things. And who cares what the neighbors think? Let them care that's none of my business what they think of me. It's absolutely none of my business, because whatever they're thinking is a projection of their own selves. And so when you see things like that, you lose embarrassment. And then when you start losing embarrassment and you start really putting yourself out there, in the end, you start realizing that when you tell the world who you are, the world believes you. And a lot of times when you start going out and putting yourself out there, and you start doing the things that you were shy to do before, embarrassed to do before, you see that the world just accepts it. And not only do they accept it, they appreciate it, because they would also like to be in that way, being able to be in full expression of themselves. I see that also with the videos that I'm doing, and I see that in so many different aspects of my life, speaking about my alcoholism, you know, um, speaking of my weaknesses and overcoming them. It's inspiring. we all have these places in us, and when you realize that everybody has things that they're working through, nobody's left out. You think somebody's left out, that they're just there. There's people that are just walking along and their life is just hunky dory. They're left out. They don't have to do any self work. They may be hiding from their own self work and not realizing that they have to do self work because they're so stuck in their avatar, but that's just a different story altogether. And then those people have no consequence. I mean, those people they are like meat people. You don't even need, what they think is completely irrelevant to who I am and what I'm doing and my life experience. So when you start looking at things that way, and I don't mean it in a way of being judgmental, I mean it in a way of observing and knowing that, and that kind of lets you off the hook to be, to be your own free self. And you're the only one living your life at the end of the day. There are no saviors. You're the savior of yourself. So at the end of the day, whatever you make of it, at the end of your life, whatever you made of it is what it was. And what it, and all it is an expansion of consciousness, and all it is an experience. So allowing myself to heal. So trusting divine guidance and timing, allowing myself to heal. So while I'm sitting in this void, or while I'm trusting that divine guidance, the timing will come through, I just stay busy. I'm, now I took over my daughter's Amazon business. So I went up the other day and I got all of her things. I got my Amazon business, because I was going through all of these emotional things, my Amazon business kind of fell a little bit. Well, it didn't really fall, but I wasn't paying attention too much to it. And so I did get out a whole bunch of inventory to Amazon. And now I'm going to sit down and start putting effort into her business and bring her business back up, because over the time where she opened up her pub and her pension, a lot of her inventory fell out and stuff. So that'll give me a lot of things to do. It's kind of pushy, like not pushy, but kind of like pushti is like a word in Hebrew. It's kind of like mediocre work. It's not high thought work. It's kind of like and it's kind of busy work. Busy work, that would probably be it. But it's something that needs to be done, and busy work might be a good thing for me right now, just to like keep my mind neutral, because when I notice that when I get my mind off of my journey and into the now, doing things and whatever, then all of these complex thoughts will start arising, because it's almost like meditation. You bring your mind off of it and it allows new things to come up to the surface. It's amazing how I started this video and how I'm feeling right now. I was so far in. This is watching alchemy in action. So coming into the now through appreciation, a portal. Okay, so I was thinking about, when you come into the now, you are in your full power. When you're in the now, and you're out of your mind, when you quiet your mind, and that's through meditation and practice. Because I know that a lot of us can't get out of our minds. We can't even release our minds to get into the now, but there's a portal through appreciation. When you start appreciating things, you have to start thinking about things to appreciate, and you start paying attention to your surroundings, and it brings you into the now, because in order to appreciate something, you have to bring your focus to it and look at it and start realizing things. And appreciation is a very, very, very high vibration. And so it brings your whole being into this high vibrational state. And then high vibrational states bring high vibrational thoughts. And appreciation brings you right into the now, which the now is the only moment of power in your life. It's the only moment of existence in your life, is the now and the now and the now. It's the only moment. Thoughts of the past, of how things are going to worry of the future, or thoughts of the future, projections of the future, are not in the now. You're missing your life when you're thinking about the past or thinking about the future. And have you ever noticed, and this is just a side thought, have you ever noticed how all of fear, besides fear of there's a lion right here, and then it's just pure adrenaline, that's a different type of fear, that you have a reactive to fear. And that's a completely different type of fear, and that kind of fear you feel throughout your whole body. But have you ever noticed that fear is a projection of the future? Fear doesn't live in the past. In the past, there is no fear because everything, if the past has already come to be, it's already an outcome. Um, but the fear, the only place that we feel fear is fear in the future. This might happen, and it's we're taking our past experiences, or even experiences that we didn't have, scenarios that we can think of, and we're projecting them on our future. And have you ever noticed that our projections of the future usually 99% of the time don't come to pass exactly as we projected them to be? And a lot of times we project things onto the future. So if we have a fear of something happening, it's first of all, it usually doesn't happen ever exactly how we expected it to happen, but we do get the same vibrational outcome. So if we are projecting onto our future that our future is going to be doomsday, we're expecting it, we're attached to it, and typically, we are going to experience it as doomsday because that's what we're expecting to see. Oh, that was another thing that I wrote here. I know that I wrote that here. Coming into the now through appreciation. Appreciation is a portal into the now. Look at that pillar behind me. I love it. Okay, so the next one. Here we go. This is it. Humanity tends to narrow down what they do see in accordance to what they expect to see. So you can say a humanity tends to narrow down what they see because there is infinite potential around us at all times. Infinite potential. And humanity tends to see what they project, what they're expecting to see. And so they narrow what they can see by what they already know. We, as humanity, we tend to narrow down our possibilities in accordance to what we already expect to see or what we already know. So we're losing infinite amount of potential. It's amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and end this. I see that this is already like 51 minutes. And I really want to thank you, and I appreciate you guys watching. And I'm really doing this a lot for me. So I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And if there's anything else that comes up, I'll probably make a new video. So have a wonderful weekend. Today's Friday. It's a good day.